my name is Geraldine Byrne Nason. I'm Ireland's 19th ambassador to the United States of America. I can't see many divergences, so I'll say at the beginning, as the Irish ambassador to the United States, I'm a very lucky ambassador. This is a primordial relationship for Ireland, the relationship with the United States, but we just saw recently in the visit of President Biden to Ireland, it's a very important relationship also for the United States. Over 30 million Americans identify as Irish, so as the Irish ambassador, no matter what city I visit, I was in Chicago recently, 1 in 6 people in Chicago are Irish. In Boston, before that, 1 in 5 are Irish. We have a huge history together. So it's a people-to-people relationship primarily. It's still growing. It's morphing, it's evolving. Many of the Irish Americans in that large group are now moving into 3rd, sometimes 4th generation Irish. The big immigration waves are over, but we're now developing a more affinity style relationship. And I would say that makes me very happy as the new ambassador. We have an African American Irish diaspora network. A lot of African Americans have Irish DNA. We're growing our relationship through our educational links, but we also have a hugely important cultural and economic two-way relationship. Our cultural relationship is through our music and our dance, and it's been a marriage because culturally what's happened is a lot of Irish traditional sounds and dances came and moved, for example, in music into bluegrass music and translated back into upgraded, I think, traditional Irish music. So there's a fusion going on. And then on the economic side, I would say an extraordinary development where traditionally the relationship was regarded very much as a US FDI relationship with Ireland. The United States, the #1 investor in Ireland, over 200,000 jobs in Ireland from US investors. It's a very important trade and investment relationship. Well, you know, I described our relationship as first and foremost to people. So if we look historically, clearly the influx of Irish people here into the United States, predominantly in the 19th century, initially on the coast and then moving across the country as this country opened up and discovered itself. You know, we also, of course, had Irish people who fought in the American War of Independence. So we have a big historical anchor to our relationship. But I think probably the parts that have shaped us most have been, I will mention 3 things. The first is that half of your presidents in the United States, so 23 of the 46, have had Irish roots. So we have, in 1960, when President Kennedy was elected, for the first time, we saw Irish influence at the highest political level here. So I think that engagement at a high political level, to have friends who are politically influential in the United States, 23 of your presidents, none more Irish probably than President Biden, be alert and alive to issues that matter to Ireland is really important to us. President Biden, a very good example of that political level of support and engagement, particularly in the context of Brexit, where he made it very clear what his view was in terms of the Good Friday Agreement. And then I'll come on to that, which is my own segue. The support of the United States really across our troubled times on the island of Ireland. Some of that was economic, for which we're very grateful. Major part has been in resolving conflict on the island. And nothing mattered more to us than the role that the United States played in delivering the Good Friday Agreement 25 years ago. That quite literally transformed the island of Ireland. Presidents, starting with President Carter, who was the first indeed to signal that the United States was watching what was happening. President Reagan himself paid attention to Ireland. It's a bipartisan issue, so we've seen successive presidents. President Clinton stands out as the president who nominated George Mitchell as peace envoy, and also who himself played a pivotal role with Bertie Ahern, the Irish Prime Minister, Tony Blair, the British Prime Minister, in delivering that Good Friday Agreement. I think any good relationship has to grow and evolve, and there's always a contextual moment. I've mentioned the peace situation in Northern Ireland. Now, hopefully in Northern Ireland, changing focus will be to try and grow the economy in Northern Ireland in a way that we have a shared island. So I know the United States recognises that the extraordinary economic relationship we have between Dublin and the United States, I'll put it in those shorthand terms, also will benefit from having an economically prosperous Northern Ireland. So I'd like to see that develop, and we certainly will work with Joe Kennedy and with this administration to support that. I've mentioned the people-to-people relationship. The profile of the people who remember their links with Ireland is changing. I want to see a lot more effort on our part, and certainly I think the United States is open to this, to working with this new generation, people who are in their 20s and 30s who don't remember the conflict in Northern Ireland. I'm delighted people who are under 25 in Northern Ireland never lived through the Troubles, but people here in in the United States who are graduating from university don't remember that Ireland either. It's historical now, which is great. So I want to find new ways that we engage with that generation, and it's by affinity. It's seeing Ireland actually hosts more semester abroad students per capita from the United States than any other country in the world. I want to see that doubled, tripled. And I think it's a fantastic, exciting time to be here for a relationship that matters so much to us, but that is ever evolving and ever growing. Whether that's in the political world, on the Hill, I'm meeting new young congressmen, congresswomen, senators who come from unlikely backgrounds with an Irish affinity. The cultural engagement here is exceptional. And as I say, our people-to-people links, we're adding, you can't line up the Aer Lingus aircraft quickly enough to get people to Ireland. We're adding new routes every week. This is a wonderful time to be in the privileged position I'm in here.